Dan, Thousand Asins.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I've known him forever. I've known him for like 5, 6 years now.
Dan's good. What's up, everyone? I'm joined here with Alex from FBA Boys. This is the Amazon Savage podcast. This is Romer's Pod, Amazon Savages. Alex is an Amazon Savage. I see he did 61,000 in profit. I believe it was last month or the month before. He said he was operating at a 19% margin on like 330,000 in sales, primarily wholesale. So I have him here today, and we're going to dissect his business model and hopefully provide some value and insight on how you guys can do the same. Welcome, Alex.
Cool. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
100%. So, how did you get to 300,000 in sales?
I've been doing this for 6 years now. Started in 2017, and just kind of not paying myself a lot, putting every dollar back in.
Yeah.
I only pay myself like $5,000 a month. I'm paying myself very minimal because I'm just trying to hit that goal of $1 million a month, and that's the only way I'm going to get there. Is just to kind of delay gratification, really. It'd be great to buy a house and this and that, and maybe multiple houses, but I'm just focused on getting to a certain level, and just kind of it's a tricky part because you want to have all the nice things. You want to go get a Rolex, this and that, but you have to, if you're focused on your business and you want to get to a certain level, you have to put every dollar back in. And that's what a lot of people, don't really understand. I feel like, especially on Instagram, everyone's very flashy, this and that. But, it's important to know, all right, how much did I make and how much can I put back into the business? And that's the only way these people are scaling to, millions a month. A prime example is my buddy Dan. He's not living a lavish lifestyle. He's putting every dollar in, and you can see proven results of that.
Except when he was in Miami, he was kind of wilding out a little bit.
Once in a while, once in a while you can wild out on a rental.
He kind of surprised me with that. I didn't expect Dan to be like that, but he was like, because
Yeah.
he's such a like just like a normal dude, real humble, and then also he's got a Lambo in Miami. I can't even say what else, on the pod, but he was wilding out. Let's just say that.
Yeah. He comes off as a very chill, relaxed guy, but when you get to know him, he's an awesome guy. Fun guy to hang out with.
So did you always do wholesale from like day one, or did you do OA as well?
Yeah. So I didn't even know what OA and RA was until I got to Instagram. I come from a strictly wholesale background. Before I was selling on Amazon, I was working for a distribution company that was selling to Amazon guys. So I used to be a sales rep. And then I kind of decided, all right, it doesn't make sense for me to sit here and be a sales rep. And while I'm selling to all these guys and I'm making $15 an hour sitting here calling up people. So I was like, all right, I told my manager, I'm like, I really think I can do this on my own. And, 6 months down the line, I kind of messaged him and I'm like, yo, you got products? And he's like, yeah, let's hook you up. So, he'd rather sell to me than sell to someone else. And it's definitely been a big in that regards to, buy from somewhere where you used to work at, where you have a relationship with, and, the drivers and everyone really. So that was a huge bonus. I always tell people, like, if you don't have the money for Amazon or you're thinking about doing it, start working for a place that is a distribution company that sells health and beauty products, sells whatever type of grocery or anything like that, to really kind of get the other eye of the rep. Because you're always, whenever me and, we call up a brand, we're trying to think of what's that rep thinking of that they don't want us to work with them or stuff like that. So to have that kind of rep point of view is crucial. It definitely helps.
Mm-hmm. Right. What would you say like is the biggest? Because if you started purchasing immediately from that distributor, what would you say is the difference in types of products you're buying now versus back then in terms of like sales velocity, maybe category? What's changed over the years?
Nothing really changed except our buying power. We were, a lot of people don't talk about this, but a lot of people took advantage of the COVID EIDL loan. I don't know if you've heard of that, but people, A bunch of buddies of mine took advantage of it. They gave me 200 grand and it just showed up in my bank account one day. And I was like, all right,
Mhm.
I'm
Dude, it
rich
was
now.
crazy. I got 25K for the PPP.
Yeah, yeah, it was just a wild time, and then we just capitalized off that, that 200K, so that allowed me to kind of max out my credit cards without stressing about, all right, am I gonna really sell this within 30 days? And, that it really helped.
Yeah, yeah, that was a
So,
very weird time. I remember them just being so unorganized with everything, and I was like, whoever first puts in their application is going to get the money. Like
yeah,
that's how this is working.
yeah, it was crazy, but it was a huge, you can't beat it. 30 years, 3.5%, like, we're able to turn that 200 to 300 real quickly and
Mhm.
then just kind of continue on with that.
So
So
your margin is 19%. What does that leave your return on investment at?
So yeah, so the margin's like 19 or 20%, but then I have my expenses. So my expenses on a monthly basis are about, with payroll, with rent, with Seller Snap and all those plugins, probably around 20 grand.
Hmm.
So, you know, even if we did like, you know, 350, 70 grand, we have to subtract that 20. So we'll clear
Right.
50.
Yeah.
So, with kind of having an operation that I have about six employees, and some are kind of when I need them. Two of them are on call. Um, you're going to have expenses, high expenses, my payroll, my rent. All these things add up.
Hmm. And at this stage, are you like actively reaching out to a lot of suppliers still?
I haven't. I really haven't reached out to many suppliers. Once in a while, I'll kind of check it out and you know do something. Honestly, I kind of just look for fun. But I'm very kind of okay with all the distributors and suppliers I'm currently working with that we're not actively sourcing new products. We're just
Gotcha.
kind of replenishing what we have. And, we work with a lot of brands where we're able to put in monthly orders on a regular basis.
How do you make sure you don't overbuy? Because you have to manage cash flow. How are you making sure you're not like overstocking?
Yeah, we usually go for 30 to 45 days with inventory. And we have the seller board data, which tells us the velocity of how quickly things are moving. And we'll go kind of based on that in regards to a restock. Our account is pretty seasoned. We have like, almost 3,000 reviews, I think, which is small fish compared to some of these guys like, Amazon Lit and stuff like that. But it does help get buy box once you get to that 1,000 mark. You see more buy box rotation going in your favor.
Gotcha. And when it comes to, do you MF a lot of stuff?
We'll MF stuff to test it. Like I just bought an item super cheap, and I turned on the MFN listing because the ranking was a million. So, but it hasn't been in stock for over a year. So I'll turn it on. I'll see if it moves, gets traction, and then I'll send them in. Worst case, I'll move them on eBay or something like that. But we don't really do the MFN. It's a really time consuming, and I'd rather have my guys prepping to get stuff into FBA.
Right. When you came to Miami back, that was 2021. What were
Oh
your
yeah.
sales back then?
Probably like 150, I would say.
Okay.
100, 150.
When did you start getting like a team of people to prep for you?
Um, Back then I probably had one or two guys.
Okay.
Now I have about four or five. And, I'm working on training my manager to kind of be my replenishable buyer guy, to kind of take that off my hand.
Hmm.
So we're trying to figure out, all right, how do I get from 3 to 400 to 5 to 600? And, it involves a lot of ordering, but it involves proper systems to make sure things come in and they get out quickly. My biggest issue right now is I can't push the stuff up fast enough that I can get it in. That's I guess it's a good problem, but we're just flooded. Like our space is flooded, and I'm like, it gets disorganized when there's too much product there. Like we have to get this stuff out the door, and it's sitting in my warehouse isn't making any money. So
Hmm.
um, that's kind of been a challenge of how quickly can we get this shipped into our warehouse and get it out the door.
Right. So for someone who wants to get to 100,000 in sales, what would you say is the quickest way to get there? Just in general, you can give any response.
Yeah, I think the quickest way is really doing that outreach every day. I tell people that I do the coaching calls with, I'm like, you got to be calling 30 to 40 brands and distributors a day. And most likely they're not going to call you back, but you shoot them another email, then another email. Some of my best accounts have been 5 emails deep. And I'm saying, hey, what's going on with this application? I opened it, it became a great account. You
Mm-hmm.
have to think like when I was a sales rep working at a distribution company, we would get hundreds of leads a day, hundreds. Nobody would follow up on them unless someone actually called us and said, hey, we put in an application like a week ago. Did you see it? And we're like, oh, no, we didn't see it. We had, hundreds of these. And then we looked up the account and said, oh, all right, we kind of kind of scaled them up a little bit. Do we want to work with them? Are they doing what type of volume they doing? Do they know the Amazon game? And then we would kind of say, all right, we'll open you up. And that's how we have to do it. You have to really be reaching out to a lot of brands. And I was talking to a seller who does like 30 million a year, and he says, Alex, 95% of my stuff's brand direct. I'm not working with distributor. And then people say like, oh, like the distributor doesn't have good pricing. Of course, because the guy you're competing with is buying from the brand. So, I really stress the whole brand direct thing because, they're harder accounts to get, but when you get them, they're lifelong relationships you build with them, and they pay dividends every month.
So what's the difference between the Amazon seller that gets the brand direct account and the Amazon seller that doesn't?
I think you have to really kind of add value to them. Be willing to take SKUs that are not moving as quickly as others. In a relationship, I have a relationship with one brand where I need to be at a certain price on this item, but I can take that other item at a higher price. And I'm able to get a little wiggle room off of him. Just because you have to think the sales rep's going to go back to their boss and say, all right, we're not making this much on this item, but we're making it up on this item. Let's push it through. Those are things you have to kind of consider. Like what dead it, I always ask, even like, going away from brands, but even the distributors, what's your oldest stock? What do you have sitting there that I can move? They love hearing that because, when we were a distributor, we used to get spiffs. So spiffs were like extra money we would make if we sold old inventory. So if a rep hears that you're trying to move the old inventory, they're thinking, oh, great, I'm going to make money off this old inventory. My boss wants it out of here. And then he's going to come back to you with good stuff that he just came in that, he only has 200 pieces of because I'm kind of helping him move the old stock, and keeping them flowing. And dead stock can kill a business. So if you come in there willing to move that stock, it can be really helpful.
Yeah. Would you say there's like different types of distributors? Like when you do a phone call and somebody picks up, you might be talking with the owner, you might be talking with a sales rep, you might be talking with, I don't know, somebody else. How would you classify the different types of distributors that you might talk to?
Yeah, you can talk to anyone. We called up a brand one day, and I was like, oh, can I speak with someone in sales? And he's like, oh, we don't have sales. I'm like, oh, who am I speaking with? And like, I'm speaking with the owner. He's like, oh, great. I kind of got a little flustered. I'm like, all right, we're here in New Jersey. We were looking for certain products you guys sell. We were looking to get an order in. And I was able to talk with him, put an order in with the owner directly. And there was no, gatekeeper or anything like that. And he was cool to deal with. So it varies on every kind of situation. Sometimes we call a distributor brand and there's, a gatekeeper telling me to go to someone else or call someone else. And you just get kind of thrown in a circle. And that's why, you know, kind of figure out who exactly you're talking to and see if you really need to be talking with someone in the sales department, not the front desk lady.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I'm wondering how I can get more people like that. Like I have a distributor now and I just text him. It's the owner and I can see what inventory he has laying around. So there's no lead time on that stuff. I can ask him details quickly about like when we're placing the next order, when can he order from his supplier, etc. I'm wondering like if you have any tips on how to find more of those relationships.
Um, I have all my best relationships are local guys. Local
Okay.
guys. It makes a world of a difference when you can kind of, go there, call them, um, take them out to lunch. It does make a difference, and also kind of we do like a lot of trade shows, so we'll try to work with brands at the trade show before we go to the trade show. So then you can imagine hundreds of people are coming up to the booth. If you go there and saying, "Hey, we're already buying with you for 6 months. It's great to meet you," instead of someone coming up and saying, "Hey, what we want to buy from you." It's going to have more of that, like, "Oh wow, oh, it's great to meet you, this and that." You take them out to dinner, you squeeze a better discount. Um, you know, that's been a strategy I've used before to
Mhm.
kind of go through the trade show we're attending and reach out to those brands, open accounts, and then go visit them, rather than kind of just going to a trade show, not knowing who's there and this and that.
Right. Yeah. So this is like a giant math equation.
Yeah,
You're spending money on inventory and you're hoping it to come back as more within a certain time frame.
yeah.
At this scale, 300,000 a month, what would you say is kind of your standard for your ROI? What you expect, how quickly you expect this stuff to sell? What makes it worth it for you to purchase a lot of inventory?
Yeah. So we work on like a minimum of like a 25% ROI, 10% net margins. The only thing I'll consider. And you know, we really want to make sure we're even a little higher on the ROI because we know the price is going to come down. So at that point, we feel pretty comfortable staying at that kind of 25% ROI. We really rarely go under like a 10% margin. We're
Hmm.
avoiding that stuff. But some things make us less margin, other things make up for it. So you kind of have that stuff of maybe something that sells really quickly that makes me, we have an item that makes me 75 cents, but I sell 1,000 a month. And then there's other items that are, moving a little slower and making that larger margin. My real criteria is, can the item make me $100 in a month? Can it make me $100 in a month? I don't care if it sells 10 units a month. Can it make me, $10 a pop on each sale? And that's really what we put in consideration. Because if you have 300 different ASINs all making you $100 a month, you have a good solid business there.
Hmm. And have you noticed that like a percentage of your ASINs result in the majority of your profit?
Um, so yeah, some of course some of them do. We have like our top five,
Hmm.
stars really, that do very well, and then all the rest of them are pretty much equal in regards to how much profit they're bringing.
Hmm.
We have a couple good like 10 maybe home run SKUs that we are constantly rocking with. But then we get, stuff that's kind of one-off closeout that we get a really good price on. I was just bought these discontinued light bulbs. I don't know if you've heard like the incandescent light bulbs are going to become illegal in August.
Oh, okay.
GE stopped making them. So I saw someone selling them on eBay. I messaged them, or I couldn't message them because eBay will not let you send like phone numbers or contact information. So I Googled some did some Googling and basically found out they were in Brooklyn. I called the guy and I said, I need 1,000 of these. And he gave them to me at $3. I was selling them at 28.99. And I was selling 60 a day. Easy. Because people just wanted these bulbs before they became illegal, basically.
Hmm.
So those kind of one-off deals do happen, and they found the supplier in a weird way through eBay. It's you can find products anywhere, honestly. Products should never be an issue in a business. There's tons of products out there. It all depends on what type of discount you're getting. I might work with distributors, but are not profitable for you, but are profitable for me because we're getting a certain discount with them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem a lot of people run into is they get the list of products and just nothing's profitable.
Yeah, yeah, because and if you see other people selling it on Amazon, they got to be getting it from somewhere that's profitable. So you really
Right.
have to kind of dig in and maybe go to the brand and explain, all right, even ask the brand, who are you distributing to? If you go on Google and look for New Jersey distributors, you might find a distributor who bought from a distributor who bought from a distributor, and you're going to be spinning your wheels. So contact the brand and say, hey, who are you guys distributing to? Because if the brand won't give you a count, like if a large brand like I don't know, like Crayola, it might be hard to get a Crayola account, but they might forward you to a distributor. But again, you're going to be competing with maybe that one or two sellers that have that Crayola account. So, it constantly that tug and pull thing. That's why we thrive with smaller brands you've never heard of, sell very well, and are smaller companies that we're able to open accounts with, build relationships with. And then the companies get bigger and they get more traction on Amazon, and we become one of the few e-commerce guys allowed to sell.
What are you looking for in a brand? Like what sales volume are you kind of
Um,
looking at to justify reaching out to them?
we'll approach a brand, usually if they're under 100,000. I've seen brands we've worked with that were 100,000 on Amazon that trickled down to 50,000.
Hmm.
And then, at 50,000, then they're getting a lot of inquiries. And we became one of the, 10 guys that are allowed to be the e-commerce guys. So, we're kind of going after those higher ranking brands, not as popular, not flooded with sellers that we can kind of build a relationship with, and, even kind of explain to them, hey, try to work that exclusive, try to work with the brand for 6 months and say, there's 15 guys on here. People are dropping the price. We want you to get you back at MAP. If we do some exclusive and we run this product through the transparency program, this can be a lot more lucrative for everyone.
Right.
So that's the ultimate goal, is to have that exclusive with the brand.
Right. Yeah. Those brand direct, that's the dream. Brand direct.
It's
But
it's not it's possible for anyone, honestly. You don't have to have a huge bankroll. I've had some brand accounts where the MOQ was $1,000 and I got in. Like, it's not like you need to send them over 100 grand purchase order to get this brand account. It just depends on.
and for brand direct accounts, are you looking for like not a whole lot of sellers on these listings so it's not saturated?
Yeah, I hate seeing a listing that's got like 40 different FBA guys that's all pulling from the same brand. Like, they're clearly just letting everyone go in. And in those scenarios, we kind of approach the brand and say, hey, your Amazon's listed's flooded. There's 40, 50 guys on here. The price went from 20 to 13. You know, I think it makes more sense to work with one seller, and we can help get rid of these FBA sellers and become an exclusive with him. I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's an OA guy, actually, and he was working with a brand that had like 10 guys on it. He flew down to Nashville, met the owner, and next thing you know, he's an exclusive seller on the listing and getting everyone off.
Nice.
So it's crazy that, meeting them in person, kicking it off with them, having a dinner, can make a difference. It really, they want that in-person relationship, and that's why I kind of explain local guys are the best guys.
Before he flew down, did he like set up an appointment or did he just go knock on the door?
I think he set up an appointment and said, hey, I'm gonna be. He probably just said he's gonna be in Nashville. Maybe he wasn't. And can we do a dinner or something like that, and kind of talk about things? And they basically said, yeah, we hate dealing with all these people. Let's just go to one guy. And that comes from, and he called me. He's like, I just got this exclusive thing. He was kind of like in panic because he's an OA guy. He's not very familiar with that stuff. So yeah, I'm happy for him. He flew down there, got what he wanted, and sealed the deal.
Hmm. What would you say is the biggest change that you anticipate seeing in the Amazon space over the next few years?
I honestly think a lot of brands are just going to be selling themselves. I think they are tired of dealing with us sellers. But the thing is, there's always new brands coming to market that are looking to just wholesale stuff and not sell on Amazon. So I'm thinking a lot will try to just sell themselves, but there's always going to be brands that come up that are just looking to distribute products. And, I don't think the space is going anywhere. I think I'll be doing this till the day I die. And, people get hesitant. Oh, is it too saturated? This and that. There's always new opportunities popping up, always new brands coming up. There's tons of opportunity.
Yeah. Do you have like a goal in your mind for like an income goal or like a nest egg goal for when I hit this much money, then I'm going to
Hey, myself.
retire?
Oh, retire. Yeah, I've never really thought about that. I can't imagine like what would I do all day retiring? I guess travel the world, which would be nice, but that might be fun for like a year or two, and then I'd want to kind of be in the business back in there. I love doing it. I love seeing. Nothing gets me fired up than seeing like an offer I get and it's profitable and you can make X amount. I'm like, let's do it. So I'll always be in the space, and it's something I hope that I can pass down to my kids and this and that, and kind of build that legacy of generational wealth. Honestly, my parents didn't have a lot, and to kind of change that for my kids would be huge.
Mhm. When do you think you can get to 1 million a month?
That's a question I ask myself every day.
Hey,
Um,
you're not far from it, man. You just
so
triple what you have, and you're
yeah,
there.
I think I want to say like maybe 2 years, honestly,
Hmm.
2 or 3 years. You have to be willing to drop like 700K in inventory in 1 month and get it all out. That's how you do 1 million a month.
Yeah,
Um, you know, it's a lot of buying. We and it's just having the proper system. Like we get all this inventory. All right, how are we going to get it out quickly? How many preppers do we need? What type of system do we need to have in order to get all this 700K worth of inventory out in like a week so it can get to Amazon as soon as possible. It's definitely a goal of mine, and I think I'll kind of relax a little bit and you know take things easy once I get to that mark.
right. What Amazon category do you think maybe there's a ton of potential in it, but you're not currently pursuing it?
The automotive, I think automotive's like has a lot of potential. I have like maybe one or two ASINs out of like the 250 ASINs we have. Um, I think not a lot of people are in it. I don't know if you need special permission to sell in it, but it's definitely something I want to pursue because mainly people focus on health and household, grocery, kind of those major categories. So to be able to kind of go into the automotive space and, I don't know, I think it's an untapped market for sure.
Yeah. Any
Because
other categories that like because the really common ones are beauty, grocery. Have you like seen or heard of like any other categories that maybe people don't think about?
the patio and garden, that one's
Yeah.
popular. It's a lot of seasonal stuff. Right now I'm selling like grass fertilizer. I'm just it's selling, but you know, just weird things.
Yeah.
You can really any category there's a ton of opportunity, but grocery there's a lot of heavy hitters in the grocery game. Same in health and beauty. So maybe automotive is not as crazy with that stuff.
Hmm. How has having a personal brand helped your Amazon business?
Um, Being on Instagram is great. I've met so many good friends, honestly. I have a dinner with like a couple guys from Instagram coming next Wednesday. And just the ability to, I met someone and we just actually collaborated on a vendor order and we split the vendor order.
Nice.
So there's constantly like new opportunities to work together and have everyone succeed when you're linked with so many people that are doing the same thing. I don't know anyone like outside of Instagram that does Amazon. Just don't. It's
Yeah.
not. It's like you tell your family you sell on Amazon, they think you're a delivery driver. Like
Hmm.
it's just like it's a weird business, and a lot of people don't know about it. And when you come to the Instagram community, everyone's talking about Keep It Drafts and AMZ Insight and Rev Seller. I'm like, all right, these are my people. Like it's nice, and everyone's like really anyone who's in Amazon super passionate about it. That's what
Yeah.
I've really found out. They want that success for their
Yeah.
family or something like that, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah. It's such an alternative lifestyle, an
Yeah,
alternative form of work.
yeah,
Yeah. It's kind of bizarre, actually, like going back home, talking with people who have regular jobs, because like we'll go months making a ton of money and then we'll go months losing money. And most people don't have to deal with that.
yeah.
Most people have their consistent paycheck every month. They don't have to deal with the ups and downs. It's just a different, mentality on life.
There's definitely like a different level of pressure. There's like a pressure to perform. Some people can go through 9 through 5 and just kind of skate through it, get their paycheck. But like, my biggest thing is, all right, you know, how quickly can I cover all my expenses in this month? We gotta make like 20, 25 grand if I'm paying myself before the business makes money. How quickly can we
Mhm.
do that? What do we need to sell? What do we need to bring in? And there's a different level of pressure, when you're a business owner of having to perform. I have this warehouse I have to pay for. There's kind of this drive that says, all right, I have to do this or else, it's not going to be a business and I'm going to be out of a job. So it's definitely like and that's why I like Instagram people because they have that same mentality of, I really like to do this business and I don't want to do the 9 to 5 thing. And, I have expenses and this and that, and I have to make it work regardless.
Right. What mistakes do you think people make at scale? So, like, they get some success on Amazon and then they start scaling up. What are some common mistakes that people could avoid?
Um, I ran into an issue where I wasn't maybe like 2 years ago, my accountant basically said, Alex, you did 3 million in sales, but you made 100 grand. And I looked back and I said, what happened? And I realized I had so many staff. There was no direction. I paid 250 grand in payroll, and I would have people kind of just walking around grabbing stuff and prepping it. And there was no manager, everything was just kind of, I wasn't used to having employees, so I really didn't know how to structure them properly. And to just hire people slowly. You want to make sure they're really hiring them is going to pay for whatever you're paying them and also going to generate you profit for the business. So to hire slowly and don't jump into a huge staff because that could be a huge bill for you.
Right. Speaking of staff, Eli in the chat, shout out Eli,
I love
says,
you.
Alex, can you tell us about your team flow? Who does what? How do you spend your workday? Who sources? Who buys?
Yeah. So basically, I do all the buying all day on the computer, and I have Josh, who's my manager, who is in charge of the. Right now, we are having 4 preppers. So he is basically bringing the carts over to the preppers with products, with the labels and the box labels. They take it, they prep it, they put on a conveyor belt that comes down. Then we have Josh building the pallets as the boxes come down, wrapping the pallets and storing them to go outbound. So he's really the bread and butter of making sure everyone stays busy and making sure the preppers don't leave their station. If you have a prepper walking around and looking for an item, it's you're wasting money's going down the drain. If they stay there and someone brings them everything, it's a lot more efficient. And that's what we kind of do. I basically tell Josh, I'm like, keep these people busy all day. I don't want them looking for products or this and that. He also receives the products. So he receives it, he counts it up, and he knows where everything goes. So he's able to bring the carts over to the preppers, supply them with everything, and then box label it, palletize, and everything.
Do you
Eventually,
know your cost per unit?
for prep,
Mm-hmm.
it's around 75 cents
Okay.
to prep everything. Maybe it's a little less. I really have to analyze it.
You know what blows my mind? Everyone says that, like around 75 cents to $1, and it makes me think, how the hell are these prep centers charging $1
I
and
know.
making a profit?
I know. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's I'm really not sure. Maybe sometimes it's 50 cents. I really have to check to see how many units
Yeah.
they pushed out in a month and figure out that exact number. But we're always
The
in
Amazon listed theirs was $1.
they're $1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So when we're factoring in buying, we're factoring in that dollar per which just makes it that much harder to find products. But a lot of people that do sell on Amazon and have employees don't even think about what their prep costs, and they're buying stuff that makes $1, and their prep's costing them $1.
Yeah.
And,
I think there are some exceptions, right? With like small and light items where you just know you can get them out.
yeah, if it's a sticker only, like it's a different scenario than a bundle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we make like I'd say $1, and that's not even including my prep on one item, but we crank them out so quickly that I don't think our prep cost is that high on it.
And what are you generally doing? What's your role?
I'm at the computer all day, just going through sheets and ordering and talking with vendors and kind of overseeing the operation when I really shouldn't even be overseeing the operation. I should leave it to Josh and focus more on buying because that's the only way I'm going to get to that 500-600 mark that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. When you say 500, 600, 500,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your goal this year? Total sales?
I'm trying to hit 4 or 5 million.
Okay.
So we were dealing with some account health issues, I think, a couple months ago, which really kind of screwed up my momentum. So it's more looking like 4. But you
What
never know.
happened here?
So we got a trademark counterfeit with a test buy. So the brand said they bought it. They said it was fake. They said it was a different formulation. And what's crazy is it brought my account health from 1,000 to 0 off,
Wow.
off of 2 critical complaints, one for a single and a 3-pack. And what's crazy is my dashboard's lit up right now. 12 inauthentic customer complaints. It's completely lit, but we're at 1,000. These 2 complaints from the same item brought us down to 0. And
It really depends on who's complaining, the
and
customer versus the
yeah,
brand versus the
yeah.
law firm representing the brand.
If it's the customer, they don't really look at it too seriously. But if it's the brand saying, "Hey, we ordered this and it's fake," Amazon like just loses it. But they could be liable for even if I wanted to pursue it, they could be liable for loss of revenue and go as that far for making a false claim. And what if Amazon destroyed all my inventory? I would take them to court and go that route because I've heard of situations where someone was selling TP-Link, the routers, and TP-Link said they were fake, counterfeit. Amazon destroyed like 100 grand worth of inventory. They took
Happened to
TP-Link.
me, man. I was selling textbooks and they threw away like $60,000 worth of inventory last year. Yeah, I got a test buy. They said it was fake, and then all of a sudden, boom, $60,000 worth of inventory out the drain. Speaking of that, if anyone has restricted textbooks, restricted inventory is still alive.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
Send your textbooks to restrictedinventory.com. We're still rocking and rolling. We actually partnered with someone who is approved by the brand to sell on Amazon. So now we just run all of our inventory through there. So if you guys send your restricted inventory, it's funny you said TP-Link routers. Somebody sent that to restricted inventory. Don't send us your routers. We usually don't sell stuff like that. We usually just do it's for textbooks, CDs, DVDs. So But yeah, I've definitely been there, man. Account health stuff fucking sucks.
I know. And what's crazy is like you lost 60 grand and like people don't really talk about that on Instagram. Like
Yeah,
that's detrimental to a fucking business.
yeah.
Like,
People don't talk a lot about the shitty side. You don't want to be
yeah,
a Debbie Downer. You don't want to be putting everyone down. Talking
yeah,
about woe is me.
yeah.
But there's some shitty sides to this business.
Yeah, no, there is, managing the account health, making sure that's all good, making sure that, there's no issues with the brand coming after you. And if you bought products, then the brand, we bought one Dyson. Thankfully, it was only one we bought. And immediately we get a letter saying from Dyson, no, you cannot sell this. And I'm like, all right, I'm glad I bought one and not 100 of them.
Yeah,
Because
that's why it's so important to be tapped in with the community, because like if you have like a gut feeling about a product, you can text your friends, text
yeah,
the Discord group, text the Instagram group, and then find out, oh, they IP or oh, they don't, or they only IP these listings,
I know this is like the one business community that like everyone's like kind of a lot of other like communities are very like, oh, don't look what I'm doing, and like it's just different. Everyone's kind of
There's definitely that aspect to it. It's a push and it's a pull.
Yeah,
There's definitely like you don't want to give everything. Like your ace, you don't want to give away all your ASINs. You don't want people to know your storefront. But on
yeah,
the flip side, if you and somebody else, if you're all selling the same products and you're competing against each other, like I have a group chat with 2 other people right now, and we're controlling the prices. We don't want to. We were competing against each other, bringing the prices down, and these ASINs sell a few thousand a month. It's like, hey, let's bring it back up and let's just chill here. If somebody else goes down, let them sell out. But we all have a ton of stock. So what's the point in bringing the price down? It's never going to go back up. If we all go down, it's not going to go back up. So
I know, and
that's
you
how.
see that a lot with like a lot of people get into OA, they're seeing the price go down, and they say, all right, I'm willing to lose $1 on this because there's fear. It's fear driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that like a lot with OA sellers. It's a great model. There's a ton of money to be made, but these keepographs I see on OA listings are just out of this world. The way some of these things tank, because you have anyone can access a computer and start buying them, and someone that's brand new to the space is saying, all right, this is not working out. I have to pay my credit card, dumping.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, those Nike listings, man. I got into OA last year. I did 300,000 in sales, 8% margin. Honestly, it's not bad. Cool thing about OA is you get your stuff so fast.
Yeah.
So during Q4, like during these Black Friday sales and stuff, you can just like, I'm gonna run it up this Q4. Like I'm super excited for Black Friday. Do you do any of that, or is that not really a thing for wholesale?
No, we don't really do any of that Black Friday stuff. I should look into it. I think there's tons of money to be made. I
Yeah,
see everyone in Q4 merchanting everything and just making a ton
yeah.
of money. And
I mean, you
like,
could drop 50, 100K in the weekend, and it's going to be there by Tuesday or Wednesday. With wholesale, you have to wait 2-3 weeks, lead
a
time.
month sometimes. We
Yeah.
pull stuff from the UK, so
Yeah, I was going to ask that. How often do you deal with overseas stuff? And do you have any tips on how to manage that and get an accurate pulse for what the lead time actually is going to be?
it's hard to get a lead time. What we order some stuff from like the UK, like some chocolates and some teas and stuff like that. And the vendor will say 6 weeks, but then it gets stuck at customs, or there's just issues that pop up, and we get it a little later. But the margin's usually good. The listings aren't flooded because not everyone's pulling from the UK. So there are some perks to that, but lead times definitely, just you got what can I do? It's coming on a boat from Europe, so
Yeah.
you got to wait it out.
Nothing from China or
No,
Asia?
nothing from China. No, that's like private label game, but just some stuff from Europe and mainly all US.
Yeah. There's this Korean supplier that has a really fast selling beauty brand,
Yeah,
but I'm just like,
I
when
think
am
I
I
know.
going to get it?
So, I think I've been trying to tackle that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it like
I'll text you after to see if it's the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any idea on their lead time at all?
No.
Yeah, I've been looking at them for a minute.
There's always constantly new items that come up, and it's tons of opportunity, like I was saying.
Yeah. What are you doing to track your profitability? You're showing your numbers. You're saying 19% margin. What are you doing to track all
So
that?
we put all our costs into Inventory Lab, but I also do have a bookkeeper
Okay,
that has access to everything and loads everything into a QuickBooks.
gotcha. So
So
inventory lab is like your gross profit, and then QuickBooks is getting the nitty gritty,
yeah,
warehouse cost, all that stuff.
yeah, the Inventory Lab's just kind of an estimate of where I'm at, because sometimes inventory gets a little funky. I don't know if you've ever dealt with it, but it's important to have. I love the bookkeeper I met at Prosper. They hooked me up. They synced all my accounts. They have everything, and they funnel it all into QuickBooks. So that just gives me more of a raw number of, all right, what are we actually making? Because honestly, it feels like I'm never making any money because every dollar we make just goes back into goods.
Yeah, are you paying attention to your like inventory valuation?
Yeah, always. And Inventory Lab calculates that. So like, if we have 250 grand or 300 of inventory, I can kind of take that and say, all right, we have 100 grand in credit cards that's due, and kind of figure out where we're at. But we're in this constant cycle of I always have like 5 grand in my freaking business account because we constantly are just paying down our credit cards.
Yeah. Johnny Flip says I'm always stressed about accounting and bookkeeping, something I have to look into.
I know, aren't we all? It's stressful.
Speaking of accounting, go to list. If you guys look at my screen, boom. Go to lister shows you your profit on a daily basis. Go to lister is the better version of Inventory Lab.
Wow,
So
I
what
gotta
we
check it out.
do, yeah, I'll hook you up with an account. So we show you like on a daily basis what your profit is. And we're also coming out with a seller amp integration pretty soon. So if you guys use seller amp, you can just export all your buy cost, all your products you're buying directly to GoToLister. That's coming soon. But for now, it's pretty exciting. I can see I sold 2,100. And if I open up my Amazon seller app, I wouldn't know how much profit that is. But here it's factoring in buy cost. So I know I made 1,000. Now I still have to factor in prep cost, but that's after the buy cost.
Yeah.
So I probably sold, I don't know, my ASP is 40. So what would that be? Like 50? I don't know how many items. I would just subtract the prep cost from that. But on a daily basis, I can see my profit. Pretty cool. You guys can also create batches here and list your products quickly. This is great for booksellers, online arbitrage sellers, wholesale guys could use it too. Just call it whatever. We have smart pricing, so we let you know if there's FBA offers, you should price higher, make more profit on those items. And yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
basically,
Did you make that software?
I didn't make it. No, I didn't code it, but I came up with all the ideas and
That's awesome,
everything.
man.
I've been working on this for a few years, man. So
That's sick.
let's go to Lister, y'all.
Love it. That's awesome. There's
Yeah,
always there's not a lot of apps like that, where you can
yeah,
kind of go in and see exactly what's going on. Because you can look at your Amazon sales all day long, but how much did I actually make off that?
yeah. I would show you guys. Yeah, I can probably show you the feature where you can. I'm so freaked out about it showing my products too. So I actually had my developer code incognito mode. Pray to God this works. We're giving it a go. Everyone get your screenshot ready.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into this. So let's go here. Boom. Okay, so yeah, I got to leave this page before this refreshes.
Oh wow.
But basically, you can see your profit per item, what your buy cost is, pending orders. So basically, you can just scroll down and be like, how much money is this really making me per item? So
That's awesome, man. I love it.
yes, sir. Yeah.
How many ASINs do you have?
I don't have that many. Oh, I mean, if you include my book stuff, I have
That's what I'm
I actually
saying.
have 2 account shutdowns right now. But when my accounts get back, I will have probably 15,000, 20,000, which sounds crazy. But when it comes to OA and wholesale. With OA, I probably have 100 or so, but like a lot of those are just like quantities of 10. And then with wholesale, I have like quantities of hundreds, like 400 plus. But I only have like 10 ASINs, and those
What?
10 ASINs are making me almost all my profit.
Wow. What caused the shutdown?
So actually, similar to what we were talking about, originally last year, I got shut down for a counterfeit book claim. And then Amazon linked that account to, I have 3 Amazon accounts. They linked it to 2 of my Amazon accounts because one account was shut down last October. I was like, I don't care about this account anymore. I didn't really need it. So I just left it dormant. Then Amazon connected it to my account. And so now the other account's actually up, but my account's not. And I've been dealing with it for 2 months. So I just hired Riverbend Consulting today. And I'm going to see if they can help me out. But I thought I was like the account shutdown expert because I've been through it like 4 times, but this one's got me stumped. I don't really know what to do. So
those get hit when they link 2 accounts. It's like, ugh.
They link 2 accounts. They say you only get your account back if you fix the account that shut down. I fixed the account that shut down, and they're not letting me get my account back.
That's
so,
typical Amazon.
Yeah. The reason why I'm worried about it though is that account has 10,000 FBA products, fucking CDs and DVDs. Guess how much it costs to remove all of them?
Oh my God, fortune.
Guess how much?
I don't know. How many you have?
CDs, DVDs. I could fit 10,000 CDs and DVDs in this fucking room, dude. They're going to charge 22,000 if I don't get my account back. That's going to cost one fucking worker. They're paying $15 an hour to go in and clear out all the CDs and DVDs. And you're going to charge me $22,000 for that. The removal fees they have are absolutely ridiculous. I think the reason for the removal fees now are to prevent you from sending in shitty inventory rather than an actual assessment of how much is this going to cost for us to move it. I think they found that it's more effective than capacity limits or restock limits to just charge sellers a fuck ton for removal fees. Because I don't know about you, but I have certainly reconsidered about every product that I send in. I'm like, would I pay $2 to dispose of this? I'm not sure.
I know. That's why we slowly kind of circle things in, just because I'm so nervous about, what if a page goes dog paged and, it's dog page listing, you have to pull out the inventory.
Yeah.
So you have to walk with caution.
Yeah. What do you do in that scenario? I mean, do you just remove the stuff back to you?
We remove it. And you know what? Sometimes we do wait about 10 to 2 weeks because in scenarios, sometimes the listing comes back up, gets fixed. So we don't remove it right away. We kind of see, all right, what's going on? Maybe there's something in the background or maybe there's documentation that's needed. And sometimes the listing will come back up.
Do you have you messed around with 2D workflow at all?
Oh, you use it every day.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard great things about that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Larry at Watch Me Amazon.
Yeah, he's really crushed it with that program, man. Like big props to him. It's a great program.
Everyone loves it.
My guys like really love it because it's so easy to manage the shipments. The new Amazon workflow is so complicated. I can't imagine pushing everything through it. 2D it's huge. It's awesome.
Billy Flips in the house.
Can't have preppers wandering around. I know. We know that. Hey, man, how many people are in here?
We got 10 people
watching
right now. Yeah.
Billy. Oh, I gotta call him. He's a trip.
Yeah, he is. I remember y'all were kicking it back at Miami 2020.
I've seen him grow so much. It's really
he has.
It's amazing to watch someone just go from nothing to something. It's
literally, yeah. He literally came to 2021 not knowing anything.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's taking off.
And, he's killing it. I love it.
All right. Any last words for the people? Any recommendations or word of advice for the Amazonians out there?
Really, I think my biggest thing I stretch is go after those smaller brands. They don't have to be major brands. You're not going to be calling up Head and Shoulders or Procter and Gamble. Go after the brands that sell well, that maybe there's a few guys on the listing, and you can build a long-term relationship with. That's where we've succeeded. Smaller brands, and everyone. I'm always talking with people. Oh yeah, I called Procter and Gamble. Oh, I'm trying to call Duracell. I'm like, focus on the smaller brands that move well, that you can build a relationship with. These brands are not going to talk to you. Focus on the small guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll link your socials below. You also got a coaching program. So if anyone's interested in that, links in his bio on Instagram at FBA Boys. Hit him up. He's a real deal.
Thanks for having me, man. It was great chopping it up with you.
100%. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take it easy.
Look, grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show and parties.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Steve with Rake and Profit, and I wanted to make this video to give a big shout out to Avery and Go To